Okay, waiting for the notification. And it looks like we are live. Hello and welcome to the MMA Live Chat Show. I'm Rich Davie, and it's Wednesday, September 24th, 2014. On today's show, we'll be speaking about the TUF 20 Episode 3 show with the rematch between Jessica Penne and Lisa Ellis that's taking place tonight, Wednesday, September 24th on the TUF show. On today's show, we have yours truly and my buddy Fred Kirby. Thanks for taking part in another show, Fred. I appreciate you taking time to be here and joining me to discuss the TUF 20 Episode 3 preview of the Jessica Penne and Lisa Ellis fight that's happening tonight. Go ahead and say hello to anybody that might be listening, buddy.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me, Rich. What's up, everybody?
All right, let's quickly jump into this, and we'll make a real quick show out of this here. The TUF 20 Episode 3 Jessica Penne versus Lisa Ellis fight takes place tonight on TUF. And as usual, it will be on the Fox Sports 1 network starting at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And again, this is the rematch of a fight these two ladies had back at the Invicta FC1 event in 2012. And I don't know if you saw that one or not, Fred, but damn, man, that was a good fight. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. I actually just recently rewatched it since I heard about this rematch. And yeah, fucking fantastic fight, right?
Yeah, man, that was a great back-and-forth bout. I know you don't really care for the back-and-forth bout type things, but, man, that was an exciting one. Unfortunately for Lisa Ellis, she had a little bit of bad luck early on in that fight, and she suffered a blow to her right eye that put her at a bit of a disadvantage there. I don't know if that was stopping her from seeing the punches coming in, and her taking the shots that she took, and maybe having a hard time defending herself. But even after that, she was still doing fairly well in that fight there. But you could tell that injury to the eye was bothering her because she kept pawing at that eye during that. In that event there, I don't know how you scored it, but I scored round 1, 10-9 for Penne. I scored round 2, 10-9 for Ellis. And the fight was really close, man. And even in the third round there, I actually had Ellis winning on the third round up until the point where that cut was opened up on her forehead there. And she started bleeding like a stuck pig, man. And, for those who haven't seen the fight, check it out. I mean, it wasn't quite as gruesome as, some of the press and the media are making it out to be. But, yeah, it was a little bit of a bloody fight there. So, what did you think of those first two rounds, and who did you have winning that going into the third, and did you have Penne winning it in the leading in the third, or did you have Ellis leading in the third?
Just like you, I gave the first round to Penne, and I gave the second round to Ellis, and I thought that Ellis was doing really good, just like you said in the third round, until that big blow landed, and I just think that they made a big fuss about all the blood because it was a female fight. That's why I think it got so much hype, because it was a very bloody fight, actually.
Yeah, typically you don't see the ladies get all bloodied up like that. I mean, every once in a while you see them get, battered and bruised and bloody like that. But yeah, man, that was pretty bloody for a woman's fight.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that Lisa Ellis looked great in the fight, and I think that this rematch is fucking fantastic. It should be a great fight, and I'm totally stoked for it.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. I also think it's going to be a great rematch there. Yeah, but, back to that fight there, how they were doing there, like I mentioned, between that issue, with the eye that she had there, because she had a pretty big knot on her eye there that you could tell was swelling and closing the eye, and, she must have been having a hard time seeing out of that, because initially, when the doctors went over and looked at her, the eye was almost, closed totally. But, in between 1 and 2 there, it looks like they put some ice on that, and that brought the swelling down a little bit. And, like I said, she came back in the second round there, and she seemed to, win round 2, in my opinion there. But, that bit of misfortune, I'm going to think that combined, with all the blood streaming out of her head in the third there, after she started looking to me like she was winning the third round there, I think that cost her the fight there. And then, shortly after that cut was opened up and the blood was streaming and all over the place, I think it kind of took the heart out of Lisa Ellis there, and she, pretty much resigned herself to the fact that she wasn't going to get the win. And then, Jessica Penne, got the TKO stoppage when she was just, raining down punches on her from behind, when she was basically, on her back there and just, hammering her shot after shot. But, the ref did jump in and stop it, I don't know if it was quickly, but he jumped in, fairly soon when he saw the battering that she was taking. But, maybe he was feeling the same thing that probably some of the fans were thinking, and like I was thinking as well there, that it looked like maybe Lisa Ellis had given in and pretty much conceded to the fact that she wasn't going to be able to overcome the eye injury and all that blood that was pouring out. But I think if it wasn't for those two unfortunate injuries, I think maybe the ending of that matchup might have been a little differently there, because like I said, I had her winning round 3, and she would have won the fight if maybe that cut didn't open up the way that it did. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely getting your eye injured early in the fight like that's not going to help nothing. It's going to hinder you being able to see the strikes coming, and it's definitely going to cost you. And as far as the cut goes, I think that definitely has a lot to do with it. If a fighter's never really been, cut very badly or opened up like that in a fight, I think that a fighter can totally panic the first time they sustain a cut like that. You know what I'm saying? And that wouldn't surprise me at all if that was the case with her. She just kind of panicked when she saw all that blood.
Yeah, I don't know. After that fight there, she took some time off, and I read a couple of articles out there, and they said it was, due to the fact that she wanted to start a family, she had a child. And then I was reading some articles that said she hasn't fought since the Jessica Penne fight that she lost. But she actually did. She came back and had another fight after that, and she won that fight. I'm going to guess, and I'm not really sure, I'm going to guess that was probably after she had the baby. I don't know if you're familiar with her record, or, you've seen anything or any of the news about, her taking time off and starting a family or not.
Yeah, I actually had heard that. That's what they were saying, that it was her last fight since then. But then when I was looking around too, it looked like she had a fight in July, I think, actually.
Yeah, 2012, wasn't it?
Well, wait a minute. I don't think so. No, yeah, it was July 14th, 2000. Or no, you're right. Okay, that was 2012. At least that's what it says here. Yeah.
And what was the Penne fight was in January, wasn't it?
It says April.
April?
April 28th, 2012. Yeah.
Oh, so then it must have been after the other fight when she came back after she lost and took a fight. Yeah, I wonder why they were promoting it like that there. That's kind of odd. So apparently, looking at those two dates there, it must have been after that last fight that she had where she took the time off.
I would assume so, yeah. I mean, if she had a baby in the meantime, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What do you think about this one here? I agree with you. Yeah, I think this is going to be just as exciting as the first fight. But what do you think on this one here? How do you think it's going to unfold and everything like that?
It's almost one of those issues where I'm kind of nervous because the first fight was so fucking good. It seems like every time you have a really good fight and you try to recapture that magic, it's never quite the same again. That being said, I hope this one turns out to be the same and it turns out to be a fantastic fight like the first one. I am half tempted to pick Lisa Ellis because, like you said, I thought she actually was doing really well in that fight, and bar a couple of sneaky little problems that caught up on her, I think that she could still do very well in this fight. Although I do think that Jessica Penne is going to be the favorite going into it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with Lisa Ellis. I'm going to go ahead and say that she gets it together this time and puts her game together and has a complete performance in this fight.
Man, in my preview and writing the show up here, I was thinking exactly the same way as you. And then when I went back and I looked at how long she's, been off now, it gave me pause here, and then I'm starting to rethink things here. But just for the listeners who don't know here, coming into this fight here, Jessica Penne is 11-2. She's 31 years old, and she was ranked number 4 in episode 1 of the show. As far as I guess that's going to be the UFC rankings go until the press actually gets to vote on the strawweight division rankings for the women. And coming into this one here, Lisa Ellis has 15 wins and 8 losses. She is also 31 years old, I believe, and she's ranked number 13 in episode 1 of the show. So, I really feel a lot like you do, Fred. I think this is going to be a great fight. I think it's probably going to be just as exciting as the first fight because those two ladies were all over on the ground there, man, and that was really interesting to watch. Because I know there are some ladies that actually are great like that, and then you look at some ladies who aren't too good on the ground, and then you also have the ladies that can strike, and then the ladies that can't. Then you have ladies who just are great at all things around. And man, these two ladies were striking, and they were grappling, and they were trying for submissions on the ground. It was really a great fight, man. So for those of you that might have missed that first fight, go out and check it again. Just do a search for it on the internet there, and it'll come up because it's all over the internet if you want to watch it. A great fight. And I, like Fred, I wanted to pick the underdog to win this time around also because of what we were speaking about earlier there. And I also like to root for the underdog. That's kind of like my thing. But like I mentioned there, just right after Fred made his comments, I don't know, Lisa Ellis hasn't fought since July of 2012 there, and I don't know, that's almost like 2 years ago, by the time that this fight actually takes place. So I don't know, man. I really want to go with Lisa Ellis, on the rematch here, but Penne is a tough character, man, and I don't know. I find it kind of hard to go against her. I don't know if you saw that fight with Michelle Waterson where she lost her title to Michelle Waterson. Did you see that fight?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she's a tough broad.
Yeah,
I guess I shouldn't say that. She's a tough fighter.
yeah, very much so. I think that Jessica Penne is definitely the favorite in this fight for sure, and for good reason. I mean, she's got a better record. She's got more notable wins. She definitely should be the favorite in this fight. And the fact that Lisa Ellis hasn't fought for close to 2 years definitely could be a major issue too. But like you said, watching that first fight and seeing that fight and thinking about how maybe it unfolds without the unfortunate things that happened, this fight could go completely differently.
I
I
mean,
like.
I hope it does go that way, but 2 years off, and again, she's going to probably, and this may play into a factor of things, and it may not, but you think maybe the fact that she was all, battered and bruised and bloody at the end of that fight, that might have some sort of like mental, impact on her in addition to the long layoff. What do you think?
I mean, anything's possible. I suppose that could definitely happen. I would think not, though. This is a different fight. It's a different time. A lot more is on the line. I would think that Lisa Ellis could just, picture it like that first fight didn't happen. She's back. There's two ways of looking at it. One, she could come back extremely rusty, and this time off could have hurt her horribly. Or she could have used this time off to really rejuvenate, get her shit together, get her body back running right, and maybe she'll come out firing on all cylinders. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, I think actually, I'm going to be rooting for Lisa Ellis, but I'm going to be picking Jessica Penne to win this one here. I think it'll probably go to a decision as long as Lisa doesn't get battered and bruised early on. But I also think it could unfold like you're saying there. If she comes out gangbusters in round one and does the damage first and gains her confidence back there and takes control right off the bat in round one there. Who knows? Maybe she could win if she wins round 1 and 2 and she can survive round 3. Yeah, I could see it going to her, but I think it's going to go to decision. What do you think?
It's so hard to tell. Just judging on the preview that's floating around right now, it looks like somebody gets finished. I mean, from judging from what Dana White says on the little preview, it looks like somebody wants a way out and they find one, Jack. So I think that it looks like a finish happens. But also, I would like to add, who knows how much the coaches are affecting these girls right now, too, Who knows exactly whose methods are a little better and which one of the girls will be a bit more fresher. It seems like the girls on Pettis' team, I think it was complaining. They didn't really they felt like they were getting drilled a little hard or something. So who knows, man? Maybe that'll kind of play into things, too.
Yeah, it was actually Jessica Penne who was actually complaining about that, where she said, I can't do anything wrong. I mean, I can't do anything right. They were stopping her. And, she was kind of saying, well, come on, I've been a champ before. I can't be wrong on everything.
Well, right, and I think that that kind of team gelling together with the coaches and shit matters a lot. In general, it matters a lot, but certainly on something like The Ultimate Fighter with the reality show being in the house, I think they really need to be fucking on page with their coaches to have good performances in the house. Because I think everybody knows that people come on The Ultimate Fighter, man, and sometimes it's not, they don't perform to the best of their abilities. Maybe it's the cameras or the weird audience while they're fighting, but sometimes The Ultimate Fighter makes fighters fight in an odd way. So it's really difficult to say how they're going to handle this pressure and come into this fight.
Yeah, so you don't really have a comment as to how it's going to end? You don't think it's going to be a finish or a decision? Or
I do think it'll be a finish, and I guess since I'm going with Lisa Ellis, I'm going to have to pick Lisa Ellis by finish. I'll say it goes to round two, and some point in the second round, she will get a submission.
Oh, wow, awesome. I like that pick, man. That's bold.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go with Jessica Penne by decision there. I hope you're right and I'm wrong.
Me too.
Okay, yeah, you made a comment there about somebody looking for a way out here. Any more comments on that matchup there or anything else on that fight?
No, I think that should do it. Like I said, it should be a great fight. It's a rematch. Sometimes I'm a little skeptical about rematches that were really good the first time around, but because there's so much on the line, I think that there's no way this isn't a good fight, and I'm predicting a finish, man. It should be a great fight.
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, I hope you're right, and I think, yeah, it's going to be a great fight. It should be just as exciting there, but I did want to talk about a couple of other things that they're teasing for the show. And being that you made that comment that, somebody is looking for a way out, I wasn't really sure if that actually had to do, because I can't recall the preview that you're referencing there with DFW, but the teasers and the things that I've been reading and seeing about this week's episode here is they're actually teasing some sort of issue with Beck Rawlings where apparently she's going to receive some sort of bad news this week. And it's also being teased that she's going to have to make a decision as to whether or not she wants to stay in the TUF house or leave because of whatever that bad news is that she receives. I'm going to guess, typically when something like that happens, it's got something to do with a family member. She's from Australia, isn't she?
Yeah, she's Australian.
Yeah, so, I mean, if it has something to do with a family member and she has to fly back to Australia, I mean, typically, for things like that, they'll let, the fighters come back to the show if, we've seen it before in the past where, if the, mother, father, family member, has some sort of medical issue or passes away or something, they give the fighter that time to actually leave the TUF house, go out, visit the family, and come back and, rejoin things, which is, very nice of them to do. But the way that they're teasing this one here, they're kind of making it sound like, she's got a decision to make there. Do I stay or do I go? And I don't know. Have you heard anything about that?
Actually, I have. I don't know whether it's true or not. I didn't hear it from any kind of reliable source. I think I just read something on Twitter earlier, but I heard something along the lines that possibly it was her stepfather that something had happened to. So the only thing, because like you said, they have made exceptions before in the past, and usually if they bring you some kind of news on The Ultimate Fighter, it's usually something pretty important and pretty bad. So I'm assuming, let's say maybe something happens to her stepfather, and there's a loophole rule where it has to be an actual family member in order for you to get off of the show or get a day or two off. So maybe that's the conundrum that she's put in where something bad's happened, but because it's a step sibling, she's not actually allowed to leave the show.
Yeah.
Or not and come back. Obviously, she can leave if she chooses to. But,
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think even if it is a stepfather, they'll, allow her to come back if she has to leave. But, yeah, who knows? I mean, we're just speculating here at this point. But we have seen in the past, as I mentioned a minute ago there, that if, a parent passes away, they allow the fighter the time off to go visit the family and, attend the funeral. And then they allow them back. But then again, we've also seen, guys on the show who are, pissing and whining, moaning about missing their girlfriend and shit like that. And there was one fighter, I believe, in one season where he was worried about his woman cheating on him while he was there in the house. And I believe that guy wound up leaving the show just to go back to his woman. And I think she did eventually wind up leaving him. I don't know if you recall that or not, but
you know what? No, actually, I do recall that. I don't recall the fighter's name, but here recently I actually heard contrary. I heard that they are still together and that it worked out.
Oh,
That's what
really?
yeah, yeah, and it's funny. I actually just read something about that not too long ago, a few months ago. I forget what the kid's name was, but yeah, yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah, typically in my experience there, if you're worried about somebody cheating on you or somebody has cheated on you in the past, that's pretty much their makeup. And if somebody, has a problem with fidelity and you're not going to be faithful to you, when you're there, they're not going to be faithful to you when you're not there. So, and conversely, the same thing. If you're not around and they're going to cheat on you, they'll cheat on you when you are around. So, yeah, kind of funny. I mean, it's difficult when you see people in relationships like that. You wonder how do people stay together like that, living with that kind of fear and insecurity if somebody's going to constantly cheat on you. I mean, I've had women that have been unfaithful to me, and I've given them second chances, and you know, it's just who people are. If they're going to cheat on you, that's who they are. They're going to cheat on you. It doesn't matter how much they say they love you or not.
Yeah, well, one thing's for sure, you fucking, going home and being stuck up her ass isn't going to change anything. They're either going to do it or they're not. You putting them under your thumb constantly surely isn't going to do the trick of making them not want to cheat on you. That's
Yeah,
not the issue.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the individual. It's their character and their makeup.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, and one other thing, let's wish Beck Rawlings well. Let's hope it's not something too bad. I hope it's, nothing real serious with her or her family member, stepfather, or whatever it might be there. But, I hope she does, in fact, attend to whatever she has to attend to there with that bad news and that, she can remain on the show there because, again, we won't know anything until actually the show airs. But wishing Beck Rawlings and her family members well. I hope all is, turns out okay for them.
Absolutely the same. I hope everything's great, and I hope that she doesn't have to leave the show, man. DW always says about how this is the opportunity of a lifetime, but with this season, it truly is the opportunity of a lifetime. You're going to be the inaugural fucking champion for the UFC. It's a major, major deal. I hope she doesn't have to go. That would suck, man.
Yeah, me too. And even if she does go and she loses the show, it doesn't matter because she'll still have the UFC contract. I'm sure they won't hold that against her. It was a family issue and she had to leave the show because I believe she was one of the ladies that actually were signed up to the UFC. I believe there were like 16 ladies that were signed from Invicta that actually were signed, to the UFC from Invicta. So I think she's going to be one of those ladies, regardless of what happens here, because she's really, a tough fighter. And I think no matter what happens with this issue here on TUF tonight, regardless, she'll still be a UFC fighter.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I think most of these ladies are going to end up getting the call to the UFC. But the thing is, there's one reason why we're all tuning in and why they're all in the house. There can be only one first ever strawweight UFC women's champion. So,
Exactly.
that would suck to get that opportunity. Of course, she'll get another opportunity to compete, absolutely. But this is for all the marbles, man. This is a big one, and it would suck to this opportunity to get swept away by something bad like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, like I said, it would be awful if she didn't get to, compete in the rest of the tournament to, try and win the title there. But no matter what happens, she'll still be a UFC fighter. All right, one more thing I wanted to talk about here that they're teasing about the show this week here, and a couple of ladies seem to be mentioning things. I'm going to guess that it probably has something to do with Felice Herrig, but I could be wrong on that. But I did see Felice post a couple of things. I follow her on a couple of different social networking sites, and she posted something about "Don't talk to me." She's wearing a shirt which says "Just don't talk to me" or something like that. But from what I'm reading there, due to the boredom of living in the tough house, there's apparently going to be some sort of game that takes place on episode 3 that is apparently going to have lasting implications that resonate through the rest of the season. Have you read anything about that or heard anything about that?
Yeah, I don't remember what I read or what I heard. I heard somewhere that it's they just do something like I don't know whether it's a game or whether they're just shooting the shit, but I heard somebody says something like what coach would you rather bang the most or something
Holy
like that.
fuck.
Which one of the coaches? I think it's something like that. Yeah, that's what I heard now at least. So
Wow.
that it's something like that's kind of the question that's posed. I would suppose one of the girls poses that question to the girls in the house, and I'm assuming that some of them probably play into it, and some of them probably get rather offended by it, and it probably draws a divide in the house in some kind of way. I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, I didn't know anything like that. I'm glad you brought that up because that gives us a moment to talk about something about that. I don't know if you've ever been privy to sitting in, you know, on a conversation where women are speaking blatantly like that. But it's funny because, you know, a lot of people seem to think that men are, you know, pretty hardcore and raunchy and you know, talk about sex and things like that, about the women that they've had sex with and their sexual encounters. But in my experience, man, I've actually, you know, been fortunate enough to kind of like sit in a conversation and hear women talk. And women are actually way worse than men when it comes to talking about sexual escapades and, you know, sexual, you know, encounters that they've had. I don't know if you've ever been privy to a situation like that, but you know, what have you, in your experience, found out? Do you think that women are actually a little more raunchy when it comes to talking about sexual escapades and their encounters? Do you think that men are?
I don't know if I would say more raunchy, but I would say just as raunchy. Certainly when they're amongst other women and they feel safe enough to actually let it all out. You know what I'm saying? I think that most people just don't assume that women are like that or that they're, you know, talking about their sexual history or past and shit like that. But yeah, for sure, I would think that they absolutely do. Certainly amongst other women and shit like that. That's, you know, it's kind of their thing, right?
I don't know. Have you ever had the opportunity to hear women actually speaking when they think that they're just with women?
Well, no, I've never had that unique ability. Usually
Trust
they
me,
go on
man. You know
forever.
how it is when you talk to your buddies about, you know, when you were younger and, you know, coming up and, you know, some of the women and girls that you might have been with when you were a younger man. Um, I don't know, man. The guys that I've spoken to have never spoken the way that women do. I mean, they get down to the nitty gritty, man. I'll tell you.
They can definitely be very truthful. Let's just say that. So,
Well, it'll be interesting to see there. I mean, yeah, because you know, everyone seems to be teasing Felice Herrig here about her crush on I guess it's Sergio Pettis.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that, and here's the thing. I think that there's going to be a little bit of blowback from this. It seems like everybody's getting their fucking panties in a wad with everything about this season, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there that think that the lady shouldn't be speaking like this, that it's going to be kind of cheapening the show or cheapening them or whatever. But I think it's all good fun. You know, it's a fucking reality show. Like I always say, as long as they get in there and they fight at the end of the day, all this other shit is just extra. It's fun, you know, fuck it. Why not? Who cares? I mean, if they want to fucking say who they're more attracted to, if Felice Herring's got a fucking crush on Sergio Pettis, it's good, right? It's something to fucking talk about. It keeps shit interesting. And I don't think that it cheapens them as martial artists in any way. They're fucking people, you know what I'm saying? It just makes them seem normal and relatable. They're just, you know, talking amongst themselves. They've got no fucking TV or no internet. Of course they're going to say shit like that. It makes perfect sense, really.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, the whole thing with the panty party that went on, we got some grief from that, where we actually spoke about that, and I had some people actually unfollow me because of that. But you know, hey, man, we're just relaying, you know, what goes on during the show, and you know, sometimes we have, you know, opinions that people aren't going to agree with, but you know, there's no reason to hate for that. We're just, you know, being honest and being adults and speaking about things the way that they happen. I personally didn't really have a problem with, you know, Felice dropping her drawers the way that she did on the show. I was just a little surprised that she would do it on camera like that, you know.
Yeah, but who gives a fuck? I mean, for me, I don't. I mean, you know, who cares? Like I said, when she gets in that ring, if she takes shit seriously, she's training hard and she's there to fight. Who cares that she took her panty? Like, you know, I don't know. People get all butthurt over it. I really don't see the point in caring all that much. They're there to fight, and as long as they do that, the rest of the shit is a reality show. Let's not kid ourselves. It's on TV, you know. Some of these last couple seasons of The Ultimate Fighter have kind of fucking sucked. So Yeah, keep it interesting. Make me want to tune in, man. Like keep the fights good and keep the other shit going on, and it's fun. I don't think there's no issue with it at all, really.
Okay, any other comments about anything that we spoke about before I mention that one last thing I want to mention?
No, sir, that does it, man. I'm fucking stoked. I can't wait for it.
Okay, yeah, me too. I can't wait to see the episode tonight. All right, and I just want to let everybody know that MMA Chat is going to be interviewing Ren DeMarcos within the next couple of days here. I'm not quite sure of the day yet because we're still, trying to coordinate things on that. But if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Ren DeMarcos, we will be interviewing her, and it will be on the MMA Live Roundtable Discussion Show. That'll be streaming live on YouTube when we do in fact do it. I'll post notifications on Facebook and Twitter when we're going to be doing that. So if you do have any questions that you'd like to ask Ren DeMarcos, go ahead and follow the link in the video to our site, and you can start an account there and pose your questions to Ren DeMarcos, and we will do our best to have Randa answer those questions. Okay, bud, you're, I guess, going to be doing that interview with me, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm in.
Okay, it'll be Fred and I doing that interview with Randa Marcos. So, again, get your questions in. You still have time. Not sure when that's going to be, but it's going to be probably within the next couple of days. All right, buddy. Appreciate you showing up here and doing this preview show with me. Can't wait to see the show tonight. Think it's going to be a great fight, and we will do it again next time, bro.
All right, man. That sounds good. I will see you next time. I am stoked for the fights tonight too, and I'm super stoked for that Random Marcos interview.
Yeah, me
Great.
too. Me too, man. I was rooting for her. Were you rooting for her in the first fight there?
Yeah, like you said, I always root for the underdogs. I'm rooting for Angela Hill. I'd love to see her almost take it all, the 16th seed, right? That's
And
what you
she
get for
certainly does not. Yeah, she certainly does not look like she should be ranked number 16.
not at all. She looks fucking great. I actually just followed her on Twitter today. So yeah, absolutely, I was rooting for her. I'm rooting for all the underdogs. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, me too. I'm that same way.
Yep.
So good luck to all the ladies there, and again, maybe Lisa Ellis will be fortunate enough to get the rematch and win the rematch here. So good luck, Linda Ellis. I'm rooting for you, but I am going to be picking Jessica Penne to win this one, but I hope I'm wrong.
All right, let's go. I got Lisa Ellis. Good luck, everybody. Let's do it.
All righty, bro. We'll see you next time.
All right, brother. Later.
All right, bye-bye.